Hey guys, welcome here and welcome back to the podcast. If you've listened to the first couple episodes, um, I decided for this solo episode to go with one of the things that's kind of near and dear to me, which is health and fitness, specifically as it relates to working in a manual labor job, because there's a lot of misinformation out there about what is necessary, to do while you're already working in a physical job. Um, what the best diet practices are, water, all of that type of stuff. So I came up with 5 ways, with four main ones, and the fifth one being kind of a bonus way to really optimize your health while working in a manual labor job, and kind of including diet and all of that stuff. So, number one being diet. Bring your own lunch to work. Sounds silly. You see a lot of people on job sites have microwaves and all of that type of stuff. If you don't work in a building with access to a microwave, that can be a really big pain rather than a benefit. If you're looking at it kind of short term, being that you have to carry around a microwave and all of that type of stuff. I can tell you from personal experience that stopping at gas stations and eating fast food every day is not the way to go. Bring your own lunch, make sandwiches, meal prep, whatever else that you need to do to get that done. Doesn't have to be the same food every day for lunch, but I recommend doing the same thing every day because it's easy and our bodies really like consistency. So what I do is I've been meal prepping in the morning, just making a sandwich, bringing some chips, not very many chips, and then putting together some almonds with some semi-sweet chocolate chips in a bag. That works out really well, better than eating a fast food burger from one of these big fast food chains, because those places fill up with oils and grease and just nasty stuff. If I had a microwave and brought a microwave to work, I would make my own burgers and bring them. That's a good idea. Not too hard. I just don't want to bring a microwave around. So if you have access to one, bring your own. Doesn't take that long. Saves you a lot of money and a lot of headache, and really helps with your health. Um, One thing that's been going around is intermittent fasting, which I know a lot of people do. Works really well. I am a big proponent of it, but it's not for everybody. I don't like eating in the morning, and so it kind of works into that. Anyways, it kind of puts your body into a fasted state. So I will bring a coffee with me to work, and I probably won't eat until about 10 or 11, and I'll eat my sandwich and the lunch that I make. So that's kind of that's kind of what I do. It's been working out really well. Feeling a lot better doing that rather than before, where I just wasn't eating because I was sick of eating all the fast food, and it's nasty, it's gross, it's bad for you. Um, I wanted to touch a little bit on alcohol. I'm not necessarily against alcohol, but the drinking alcohol every single day is not good for you. Even just having one beer a day, if you're doing that, not good for you. Do what you want. Do what you want. It's not my decision, but I'm going to kind of lay out some reasons why, you maybe should exercise caution. So Dr. Andrew Huberman on his podcast talks about alcohol with kind of some neurobiological responses and things it does to your mind and your body. Drinking one beer on the weekend is enough to get you every negative side effect of alcohol. So that being breaking down your brain cells, lowering your stress tolerance, disrupting your gut microbiome, a lot of different reasons. And I'm not going to get into the specifics, but more or less, to have every negative side effect, you only need one drink on the weekend. And that's pretty crazy. Alcohol disrupts how your body handles your food because of it destabilizes your gut, which is a huge thing in your overall health. If you're gaining weight or you're not feeling good or whatever it might be, I'd look at alcohol consumption. It's not really that great for you. Doesn't really have very many benefits. Again, up to you, not my decision. And I'm not bagging on people that do. I just prefer not to. And there's enough information out there right now against it that I'm kind of surprised that people still drink a lot. But yeah, up to you. Not the greatest thing. The second thing I would say to focus on is sleep. Now, sleep is one of the most important things in our day-to-day actions that we do. If you think about it, we're asleep for, 7 to 9, 10 hours a day out of 24 hours. Almost half your life is sleeping. And that being said, our bodies are designed to sleep and programmed to sleep. And so if you start looking at ways that we're disrupting our sleep, it really disrupts our overall health. So the most important thing to focus on is waking up at the same time every morning and getting enough sleep, following closely after that. So I, in the past, have just woken up with enough time to get to whatever job site that we've been at, just enough time to get up, get dressed, drive, stop at the gas station, whatever, and get to work. And, that didn't ever really work. And I knew that the next step was to wake up at the same time every morning, no matter where we were, wake up early enough that I could do stuff. Now I'm waking up at anywhere from, within an hour. By waking up at the same time every day, I mean within an hour. So I usually wake up 4:30 to 5:30 every single day. And a lot of times I don't need to be to work right now until 8. So that gives me enough time to do anything I need to in the morning. Ever since I made that switch, it's been a huge benefit in my day-to-day. The reason you want to be waking up at the same time every morning is because, like I said, we are programmed to sleep. It's part of our health, optimizing our health. It's a part of how our bodies work. And if you are not waking up at the same time every morning, your body does not know when it is time to wake up. So that dives down into having discipline, having to rely on discipline every morning to get yourself up at the time you need to be up, because you're disrupting your sleep-wake schedule. If you do it at the same time every single morning, you get into you're using your circadian rhythm to your advantage by having a routine, and your body knows, hey, this is time. It's time to wake up. Getting enough sleep is also crucial, because if you do not have enough sleep, it highly disrupts your metabolism, your stress management, your energy levels, all of that stuff. And if you sleep too much, i.e., like 10 hours a night, 10 hours is too much for pretty much everybody. It also does not help in any way. One thing I will touch on is, if you say you go to bed at 9 every night and wake up at 5 every morning, and one night you get to bed at midnight, it still would be ideal to wake up at 5 the next morning again, and then throughout the day take like a power nap or something. Because of the way that your circadian rhythm goes, if you sleep in later than an hour past your regular time, it disrupts your circadian rhythm and then throws your body off schedule. So getting to bed at the same time is important, but waking up at the same time is more important. Even if you didn't get enough sleep. Now, that's something that really surprised me. A lot of this stuff is going off of things I've heard on the Huberman Lab podcast, and also things I've come across in my own research and my own experience. So I'll provide links and stuff in the show notes as to why some of these things are the way they are. The next point I'll touch on for optimizing your health, and this is one that is really important to me, and a lot of people have kind of pushed back on this when I kind of started doing it. Working out. So I do concrete. I'm a concrete finisher. One of probably I'd say one of the more difficult manual labor jobs. And I think just about everybody, when I started working out, told me that I was going to hurt myself, or that I was going to hurt my back in the long run, or like wear down my body faster, or any of the myriad of reasons why you shouldn't work out. And I was thinking about the reasons why you should. Lifting weights is super good for your body. Becoming stronger, which, lifting weights, you're breaking your muscles down in order to activate a process where your muscles are going to take nutrients and build themselves back up stronger in order to handle the stress that you introduce them to. Doing that is crucial for a healthy life and for from a longevity standpoint. There's been a lot of research done on this topic, so I will also include some of this stuff into the show notes, even as it relates to people like, let's say 60 plus. People that are in their 60s and 70s that have lifted weights and done that consistently their whole life are in much better position than people that never have. And it's especially crucial once you get to that point to keep to some level lifting weights, to keep your strength levels up, because you start to get to a point where you can't like if you can't get up off the floor, you are a high risk for developing. I mean, that's just a baseline standard, but you are at a high risk of developing health problems just because of how your body works, and you're limited on your movement. So that's one important aspect to lifting weights, is to make your body stronger. And the reason being is, in a manual labor job, you are using your body a lot in kind of the same fashion every single day, kind of doing the same movements. And if you're not strengthening areas that you don't use consistently, you're at more of a risk for, let's say, rolling an ankle, or tweaking something in your back, or pulling something in your bicep or your shoulder, amongst a bunch of other things, because you are working the same muscles day after day, but you're not strengthening the areas around them. I know in my personal experience, I had started to have quite a bit of lower back pain, partially, I think, due to not drinking enough water, which I'll touch on later, but also because of the wear and tear from bending over all day and lifting stuff up in weird ways and using your back muscles and all that type of stuff. When I started lifting weights, within 6 months, that pretty much went away. I also had some shoulder pains, and also within 6 months to a year of just working out, just lifting weights, pretty much went away. The reason being, like I said, is you are wearing down and using those same muscles all the time. And when you get to a point where you're wearing those down and they become sore and tired, I guess, they don't have much support around them to keep your joints in the place that they need to be, to keep everything where it should be. And if there's going to be a problem there, that's where that happens. There's another person on Instagram lately that has a lot of information surrounding knee injuries. So he is knees over toe guy on Instagram, and he had a lot of knee problems and played basketball and thought that he would never be able to overcome that debilitating weakness, so-called, because of the knee problems. And what he did is he started reverse engineering the movements that you do in basketball, the high impact forward motion, jumping, and all that type of stuff. And he started reverse engineering those to strengthen the areas around those. And, putting his knees over his toes, getting down, doing like the movements in reverse, like literally reverse engineering the movements, and doesn't have any knee problems whatsoever, and has more range of motion in his knee than a lot of other people do. That being said, reverse engineering your movements in your job is probably one of the most important things to do. Now, sounds like a lot. Sounds like a hard thing. I know working out can be difficult just because it can take a lot of energy from you. But I would counter with working out improves your energy levels. And sometimes the answer is more rather than less. So do movements that strengthen the areas that don't get worked. And that will help you improve your longevity while, manually taxing your body as far as your labor goes. It also improves your energy levels, mood, all that type of stuff, which seems counterintuitive because you are expending a lot more energy to do it. But it actually happens, and there's a lot of science behind why it does, and I can put more of that in the show notes as well. I could talk about working out for hours, and I'll probably do more episodes on what workouts to do, because I'm somewhat of a fitness fanatic, I guess you could say, and I've spent a not a small amount of time dedicated to working out and getting stronger. And yes, it can be done, and yes, it actually helps. So I think everybody should lift weights. I lift weights 3 times a week. And as far as my workouts and training, that's about all I do, just because, like I said, you're already in a manual labor job. You just need to put that little extra step in. And it's hard, but I would also say to choose your hard, because it's hard now. But what is also hard is having a debilitating back problem because you weren't taking care of yourself in your job, and you enough years and stress of on your back or your shoulders or whatever it happens can cause some major problems that will be even harder to overcome in the future. So that's important. Number 4, I would say, is drink water, and drink enough water. People working in, manual labor jobs outside in the sun all day or whatever you're doing, need more water than just about anybody else does. A good rule of thumb to go by, there's a lot of misinformation around this as well. A lot, like if you're going to the bathroom every 5 minutes, you're drinking too much water. And that's actually not good for you either, because you can become waterlogged, so called. And it actually goes against your normal bodily functions and is unhealthy for you. So it's important to be in that sweet spot of drinking enough water, but not too much. A good rule of thumb is if your pee is really dark, you're not drinking enough. And if it's clear, you're drinking too much. So, try to stay in there a little bit. Try to get close to a gallon. If you're sweating a lot, you can look at how much you sweat and how much weight you, like, say you work out for an hour and you weigh yourself before with no clothes on, and you weigh yourself after. Usually that amount of weight that you lose is how much you want to drink back in water plus a little bit extra. So you can, if you do that, you can kind of take into account how that worked and put that towards your day to day and make sure you're getting enough water in. This is a step that I typically don't follow that good. I drink water and I make sure I have water, but a lot of times it's not appealing. One thing I will say is to drink less soda and less energy drinks, and drink more water. Every time you drink an energy drink, it really kind of lowers your desire, I guess, to drink water. And I know this from personal experience when I have had energy drinks a lot, which there was a time where I was drinking quite a few a day. I would drink one a day for probably 3 or 4 years. Not a good thing. There were times where I would also have 2 a day and maybe even 3. Those are the times that it was the hardest to drink water. So make sure you're drinking enough water. Super critical. Number 5 is get your blood work done. This is kind of the bonus step to optimizing your health. Blood work is super important. You can figure out exactly where your body is deficient in, what your body is deficient in, and what your levels need to be. And you can do customized nutrition and supplementation to get your body to where it needs to be. And if you're doing this and all of these steps, you really are doing preventative health measures as opposed to just doing whatever you want and then coming across a problem and having to do typical medical work, which is more like treatment for problems that exist, that are already happening because you didn't take care of your health. Blood work is my next step. I have been focusing pretty hard on all these other steps, and blood work is kind of like the next step for me to really get my health into order. And I know there's probably going to be some levels that aren't where they should be. And that's the amazing thing about the tools we have and to be able to check our blood work and kind of get them to where they should be for our body. It really helps to optimize your health and really helps to get an idea of what you should be doing as far as your diet goes. And the supplementation is a big one because there are so many like multi-ingredient supplements. This way you can go get exactly what you need and not have to take all the other garbage that comes with them. So just to recap, diet, get your diet under control, bring your own lunch. That's a huge one. If you can bring your own lunch and just not eat out every day, not only will it save you money, it'll also help with your health tremendously because you're not putting all that processed garbage into your body. Also, alcohol, tread lightly. It's a big problem. I'd say if you are really on top of your health, and I mean like making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure you're working out, drinking enough water, doing everything, I'd say you have less to worry about with alcohol. But if you are drinking alcohol, you really need to do a lot of work to counteract the harm that it does to your body. Again, do whatever you want. This is just from me, from the research I've done, personal experience, what I've seen in people's lives. It's no good, but if you're going to do it, just at least exercise some caution there. Getting enough sleep, I'd say 7 to 9 hours. Make sure you wake up at the same time every morning and get that same amount of sleep. And if you happen to get to bed late, still wake up at the same time and then try to take a nap. And enough times, like say you do that for a few weeks, you're going to be able to stick to that a lot better, a lot easier. It's going to become more natural because your body works in what you can call it like a clock, circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is almost like a clock. So your body knows when it's time to wind down to go to bed, when it's time to wake up. It'll just start doing all that naturally. Work out, lift weights. I do 3 times a week. That's really all you need for anybody that's not a bodybuilder or on steroids. That's really all you can do. Lifting weights. If you're doing heavy lifting, you really can only do 3 times a week and actually see good gains from that. And do movements that strengthen areas that don't get worked, and do a lot of movement exercises too to open up your range of motion. That's going to help with your strength, energy levels, mood, your ability to produce more at work. And, there's so many health benefits and benefits to doing that they're immeasurable. Drink enough water. Make sure you're drinking enough for how much you're sweating and not too much. That's important too. And the 5th one is the bonus blood work. That's my next step. Like I said, really right now I'm working on drinking enough water and blood work. And this may sound like a lot. This may sound like a lot of stuff to focus on. It's really important to get started with at least one of these. If you're wanting to lose weight, which if you're overweight, you really should be wanting to lose weight, because that's I'd say that's as bad or worse for you than all of the stuff that alcohol does for your body. Not good. I'd say focus on your diet. Your diet is the number one way to lose weight. Lifting weights doesn't really lifting weights helps you lose weight in a sense that you are building muscle, and that muscle is burning more calories, and in turn, in a calorie deficit will help you lose more weight. But still, it comes down to your diet. So I'd say if that's where you're at, focus on your diet. If you've been working out for a long time, I'd say focus on diet, sleep, water, blood work, whatever it is. But start somewhere. All of these help to optimize your health. All of them are important, but it doesn't really matter where you start, just that you start somewhere. So if you're not getting enough sleep, start there. Pretty easy enough. Go for a month, wake up at the same time every morning. If you're doing that, waking up at the same time every morning for a month, pretty soon it's going to become natural, and you're going to want to get to bed in enough time to get enough sleep. It's going to become part of your routine. And then it's going to be easier to add something else on. So, yeah, guys, if you liked this, let me know. like and share, comment, whatever, wherever you're at. Share this with a friend that you think would get something out of it, and subscribe to that podcast. I'm going to be releasing one a week from here on. One week is going to be a solo, one week is going to be an interview. And I'm really trying to make this podcast all things related to blue collar work, trade work, and even going so far as to health practices, because it's super important. And it really helps to improve your overall life if you are on top of these things. And it will take huge downsides away from having a manual job. So we will see you guys next week, and thanks for listening.